Well, a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Delta T Racing. It's Thursday night, so it's time for Division 2. We're coming this week from Qatar, round number 11, and we do have a sprint race. So it will be a one-shot quali, a sprint race of 10 laps. Then we'll have another one-shot quali to set the grid for the 29-lap feature race. Just making sure we have which we are, so all good. Right, okay, so just staying on board with Hammers at the current time in the McLaren. Bog Championship leader currently in 11th, so not having a good one shot so far, but see if he can pull that together towards the end. Bog leading the championship by 40 points, so it's 4-0, 152 points against Brother Adam in second on 112. So every possibility that Bogarowski could take the title today, obviously pending everybody else's results. Staying with Hammers is currently fastest. Connor just behind in second. Connor having a... Connor's dropped down. Not sure if he has spun or whether it was just a invalidation. But staying on with Hammers now. Just dropping down, coming around that final turn. Manages to get a really good drive onto the line. And does indeed take pole position with a 23.2. So fast and furious for the qualifying there. That is done and dusted. So we're on with the right person. Hammers taking pole position. And we'll bring the official result or qualifying results up for the sprint race. So Hammers taking pole position. Brother Adam recovering into second place. Then we got Hummer in third. Daniel in fourth. Fifth is Rika. Sixth is Kazingle. Seventh, Ralph. Eighth, Bogarowski. So good recovery from Bog. Johnny's J5 Gaming in 9th, 10th Scully, 11th Skipper, 12th Composite, and then we have 13th is Cavolis and 14th is Connor, obviously 19th and 20th because of being disqualified. So 14 racers tonight. Notable absentees are Wazza not here tonight. Wazza normally shows good pace. There's a few incidents, but it still has the good pace. And Pac-Man as well missing. Another one with a good pace. So his racing's been a lot better recently. And who else do we have missing? Double, of course, Double not making it tonight, having internet issues. I think the area is down, so he's unable to join in. And then we've got Pavlosidor and Lakatsis as the other absentees. But nevertheless, so we have 14 on the grid, 10 laps of sprint mayhem, followed by, as I say, another one-shot qualification, and then a 29-lap race. So whilst we're waiting for it to come up, apologies, I haven't put any cutscenes in today, haven't had a lot of time, but we're going to be jumping on to the formation lap now. Let's just bring up the table whilst I'm sorting the track map out. Okay, so let's say Bogarowski leading in the McLaren, 152 points to Brother Adams, 112. Then Johnny on 105. Hammer's a bit further back on 97 points. Obviously last week's winner, so he'll be looking to try and make it back to back. Then Connor in 5th place, Kazingle in 6th, Ralph 7th, 8th is Daniel, 9th is Hummer, and rounding out the top 10 we have Cavolis. So that is our driver table. Let's just pop back. What I'm going to do is have a quick look to see what tyres everybody's gone for, and we have a blanket of mediums, which is the best tyre choice around here for the sprint race. Softs just will not last long enough. So the race itself is going to be interesting. There's a couple of strategies you can take. Obviously the medium to hard or hard medium, depending on your grid position, is the prime strategy. The hards can be taken with the softs at the end. So, or obviously vice versa, going softs. Potential for a 2-stop as well, soft, medium, medium, but I don't think the time gained is going to be of any benefit, especially with overtaking being pretty damn difficult around Qatar at the best of times. So Hammer's now coming up to his grid slot to take pole position. Brother Adam in second. What we'll do is we'll jump to the back with Connor. Unfortunately, getting disqualified on that hot lap. So starting from the back of the grid, but I expect him to make his way up quite a few positions. So right, we'll see if we get a decent camera. Hammer's actually missing his grid position there, so he'll be set back a meter. So we're just waiting for everything to set. Are we gonna get a decent camera? We are not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on with Jack on the inside, so on board with Kazingle, and lights out and away we go. And it looks like a really good start up front, but a poor start by the Ferrari of Brother Adam. It has been swamped by 1, 2, 3 cars. They're pretty clean around the first turn, always good to see. So no spinners, right? Okay, so Hammers, talking about no spinners, there's our first one. Who was that? That was the Haas of Scully, so it's not a good start for Scully. Obviously missing his teammate tonight. Double not being here with internet issues. Right, let's go back to the front. So Hammers has taken pole position, got a good start, managed to put away Hummer and Daniel, jumping up a couple of positions, getting up past Brother Adam, who seemed to get a really poor pickup tonight. They put him into fourth. We got Ralph in fifth. In sixth is Johnny. Bog dropping down to ninth, so fighting away there with Composite. The championship leader Bog back up into the point, well, a point for eighth. Obviously point scoring from first down to eighth in the sprint race. So Hummer just outside of that DRS zone. 126.0 by Hammers there. And who do we have in the pits? Cavolis already into the pits. So that I would assume will be for a new nose cone. But let's get back to the front. Connor also into the pits. Have they been involved? And Cavolis certainly getting a new front nose cone. Same for Connor. Yeah, Connor as well. So I wonder if those two might have had a bit of a friendly rub at some point. But the main bulk of the field from fourth right the way down to ninth. Pretty well, I say pretty close. Boggs. So the Boggs dropped off 4 seconds behind 4.1, 4.2. So keeping the gap pretty stable, but obviously not the best start for him, but 7th place nevertheless will pick up 2 points, and Brother Adam, his main title rival, really in 4th, will pick up 5 points, so that gap would only close at the moment by 3 points, so down to 37. Still pretty big. Ooh, a bit wide there by Johnny. And these two fighting just ahead. I think they're in quite a good position here, but I just want to keep an eye on Hummer because he is closing on Hammers now. That gap down to 0.7. Brother Adam losing another position down into 6. So now there would only be a point gained on Bogorowski. But Bog is closing that gap now down to 3.6 seconds, whereas it was 4.1, 4.2. So Bog does look like he's on the charge, but he will be dragging Kazingle and Rika with him. Then we've got a bit of a gap there to Composite and Skipper, so the two Salbers not fending too well in the early days. Scully then in 12th, still on the back of a couple of seconds further back on Skipper. Then we've got Cavolis and Connor, obviously a long way back due to damage. Can be a very lonely race this. I had that last night where unfortunately I got damage in the first corner. Pitted And I was racing for Ferrari, so normal strategy. They decided not to change my wing, so I had to pit again the following lap, and it was just, to be honest, I didn't really see a car until we got to the last few laps, but nevertheless, that's my race. We'll get back to this one, and Hummer is closed right up on the back of Hammers, and is he going to go for a move down into turn one? You bet your bottom dollar he is, up the inside using his DRS. So change for the lead. Hummer up into first position. Johnny and Ralph, a bit of a battle on there, and side by side coming through. Good racing so far, giving each other room. And Ralph currently holds on to that position. Boggs lost a position to Jack, so Kazingo up into 7th, Bog down into 8th. Connor picking up fastest lap of the race, which he would do with a nice fresh set of tyres there. So let's jump back on board. Put a bit of warning there for Hammers. There's one thing, penalties can come into it around Qatar. It's very easy to just dip your wheels over that line around some of these fast flowing corners and just pick up a warning, and one too many will give you a 3-second penalty. It's very, very easy to pick one up. You have to be on it at all times. So Hammers now opening the DRS behind Hummer. Closing that gap down to 0.4. I think he'll be more than happy to just keep within DRS range and maybe make a move at the end of lap 9, entering lap 10, and try and hold that gap to the end. Right, a bit further back, so Bog now is back past Jack, and 1.8 behind Brother Adam now, so that gap is coming down. And Brother Adam himself 2 seconds now behind Ralph. Ralph and Johnny seem to be the battle of the day so far. So we'll keep an eye on them and everything else that's going on, but Hammer's getting that gap down again to 0.8, so keeping himself within that DRS zone, which is what he needs to. Daniel dropping further back, 4.4 seconds now behind Hammers in 3rd place. F1 Johnny, or J5 Gaming, sorry, picking up a penalty there. I'm assuming that was just a 3-second penalty for corner cuts. I think Hammers is being pretty damn sensible here and just sitting behind, just going to charge his ERS up to maximum, use it as and when he needs to. DRS will drag him down the main straight to keep him close to Hummer. Then start of lap number 10, that's when you make your move. Use DRS, ERS down into turn 1. And then, so track's pretty difficult to overtake, so you can then hold them off for the majority of the rest of the lap. Obviously you're going to get some potential moves going on. Rika looking for a dive up the inside of Jack, but Bog has now caught Brother Adam. So Brother Adam, I don't know if he's got damage, but he has, yeah, front left end plate missing. But here we go, on board with championship leader, chasing down the 2nd place in the championship. Bog will take the place down this straight. Not sure what state his ERS is, but he will have DRS Makes the move to the left around the outside, and that position will be done and dusted before the corner. In fact, Brother Adam loses 3 positions in one straight there. That's how powerful the DRS and ERS is. Obviously getting a bad exit as well without that front right end plate. So unfortunate for Brother Adam there, but he was a sitting duck and now drops himself down into 9th outside of the points. Huge straight there for Bog. So Bog up into 6th, 3.8 seconds behind Ralph. We'll be going on the charge there. I'm going to keep an eye again back on the front because Hammers is still sitting in behind. Just needs to play that waiting game, and then I think victory will be his. Ralph and Johnny still battling away for 4th and 5th, but they have now caught right up onto the back of Daniel. So this could become a 3-way tussle here, and then we would have a 3-way tussle for 6th and a 2-way tussle for the lead. Here we are onto the straight. Is Hammers going to go for it? I don't think he is. Doesn't need to. So Johnny losing the position again to Ralph. So just changing pretty much lap by lap. Rika making the move on Bog up the inside, but Bog not giving up yet. Goes around the outside, which is obviously then going to switch back to the inside, but concedes the position to Rika. So Rika up into 6th. As I was reading Bog's comments in the Discord chat earlier, that we actually have Team Lithuania tonight in the Alpine. Rika and Kavolis, both Lithuanians. So they have locked out the Alpines tonight. Currently one in 6th and one in 14th. So pretty mixed fortunes so far. What we need to do now is see if Rika can close on to the back of Johnny in 5th. 4.3 seconds. There's 2.5 laps to go. I think it's a tall order, but it depends on the state of everybody's tyres. Plus, sometimes you can get in a bit of a rhythm. And there's going to be some fighting there as well with Daniel. Hammers. I think he made it look like he was going to go for a move there. But we've now got Daniel, Ralph and Johnny all together. A bit further back, Bogorovsky looking to make the move around the outside of Rika, and he does. So Bog back up into 6th position. Hammers still sitting in the tyre tracks of Hummer. Lap number 9, so this is going to be the lap where he's going to want to go for the move, I would have thought, on the start finish. Unless, can you use it, could you drag out of the last corner? It's dangerous, but you could potentially out drag the last corner. Lap 10. Oh, excuse me. Oh, apologies. Bit of a sneeze. Right, so we are into the last corner for the penultimate time as we go across the start finishing line. Rika picking up a penalty there. That's going to be good for Bog. It means he's not going to be under too much pressure, but let's have a look. Hammers does indeed go for it. So he seems confident that he can hold him off to on the run to the line, but this I think could get a little bit fruity because I don't think Hummer is going to give up. A bit further back, Rika now past Bog there, so I don't think Bog really cares now with that 3-second penalty. It's just a matter of keeping on track. Right, Hummer looking pretty aggressive now behind Hammers. So Hammers just needs to put his car in the right place, and this should be his race. Bog and Jack changing positions back there, but let's get back to the leaders. Entering the last sector for the last time on this sprint race, so flat out right-handers around here. Pretty much a flat left there. It is all going to be about the drive out of this final corner. Oh, Hammers gets a little bit of oversteer, and Hammer is going to lose the race there. Oh, got a snap of oversteer coming out of the final corner. Then we've got Daniel and Ralph coming home. Johnny, what happened to him? Why did he drop further back? But right, okay, so changes. So right, let's read it as it should be. So Bog taking 5th position, Kazingle taking 6th, 7th going to J5 Gaming or F1 Johnny, and 8th and the last points finisher is Eureka. Then we've got Brother Adam in 9th, Skipper and Composite in 10th and 11th for the Saubers. Then 12th will be Scully crossing the line now. Connor not having a fantastic race by his standards, and then I'm not sure who that was at the back deciding to crash it into the wall. So Hummer taking the sprint race win, 8 points to him. Hammers in second, 7 points to him. Let's get the results up properly. So Hummer in first, Hammers just behind in second, and Daniel in third. Fourth, Ralph Albers. Fifth, Bogorovsky. Good recovery from him, making his way up from 8th to score some good points. 6 goes to Kazingle. F1, J5 Gaming in 7th. Rika in 8th. 9th, Brother Adam. 10th, Skipper. 11th, Composite. 12th, Scully. 13th, Connor, and it was Kavolis that was doing the pirouettes at the end. So we'll be just waiting now for, let's say, another one-shot qualification to start. We'll see who can get on pole there, but I think we could have the same protagonists up at the front, but you never know. It only takes a dip of the wheel over the lines here, and you find yourself at the back of the grid, and as I say, it's not easy to overtake you, especially without safety car. But we will see. Right, okay, just waiting for the players to pick their strategy. So we have a chance for them to change their setups ever so slightly between the sprint race and the feature race. Just gives them a better chance just to have a little bit of a fiddle, try and be a bit quicker in the sprint race if you can. Try and adjust it just to those medium tyres or softs, whichever you're going to go for, and then getting your normal setup back on for the race. I don't do it myself because I struggle to set a setup anyway, and to try and change it would be astronomical. So I don't think I'll be doing that. But right, okay, let's try and I'm going to go on board with Hammers again because I think he could potentially be another pole sitter. So Bog down in, oh, Hammers not overly quick down the start finish line here. I wonder if he didn't use his ERS. So he's very key on the qualifying lap. It's something that I keep forgetting to do, is that you can use your ERS now on a qualifying lap. I normally get about halfway, 3/4 of the way round before I remember that I can use it. But it can be so beneficial, certainly just in those gears, sort of between 4 and sort of 7. Just to give you that extra push, and if you don't use it, it really can cost you. But so Hammers not having the best of laps for him here, but Bog having a bit of a stonker so far. Up into second. Connor is pretty quick around here, so I would expect him to be up near the front, which he is. Just needs to make sure he keeps that time on the boards. So easy, either here or here, to dip your tyres over, and the other one is here. If you're going too fast here, either cut the corner or go a little bit wide. But so far so good from Bog. I think keep this nice and neat and tidy, which he has. Very tidy, moves himself so far up into second place. So Connor does take pole position with a 122.582. So complete contrast to the sprint race where he started last, so I'm sure he'll be very happy to not have any traffic in front of him at turn 1. Bog taking second, then Hummer taking third position. I shall bring the rest up in a minute, as I wasn't quick enough to read them. Right, so here we go. Connor taking pole position for the feature race. Bog joining him on the front row, 122.7, a gap of 0.187. Then we have Hummer and Brother Adam on row 2, Hammers and Ralph on row 3. Row 4 will be occupied by Rika and Scully. Row 5 by Kavolis and Kazingle. Row 6, Daniel and Composite. And the back of the grid, row number 7, will be J5 Gaming and Skipper. Okay, so we're just waiting for the drivers to put their race setups on, adjust their fuel loads, and pick what strategy of tyres they're going to go for. And so medium hards is the obvious and probably the prime strategy to be on. So Connor to take us away on the formation lap. Tyres, what has everybody gone for? Well, it's pretty a blanket medium, other than Jack in 10th, who's decided to go a little bit different, got on the hards. Can be a good strategy to go long. Depends on whether we get any safety cars. I mean, safety cars don't come out too easily here because you've got pretty big runoffs. But I would say that we're going to see a safety car tonight. We'll certainly see a virtual safety car. But I think we could see a safety car today. So the medium runners, it just depends on when it comes. If it comes fairly early, they could jump onto the hards and drag them to the end. Whereas a hard runner will not have that opportunity. But also it could turn the other way. Hammers in 5th on those nice fresh mediums, same as everybody else. We'll look at, I think he might regret not making that move a lap later. I think he might have out-dragged him to the start-finish line, but obviously under circumstances, put under a bit of pressure, just lost traction on the rears, just giving Hummer a chance to go around the outside. But nevertheless, good pace, and hopefully they can take that forward into the race. But see some good battling. So he's got some nice battling going on. Hammers again missing his grid slot, so starting a metre further back. Skipper just coming in to shot now, so I am going to jump on, I think, with Hummer for this one, and just until we get to the corner, and we have 5 lights. Lights are out and away we go, and a pretty good start by Bogorowski on the inside there. Let's get to And Bog putting pressure already on the inside of Connor. Connor giving him space as well. And Hammer's making his way straight up into third place, but loses a position to Hummer, who has the inside. So those two are resuming their immediate battling, which is good to see. Bog losing a position there to Hummer, but as I say, the race is not won at the first corner, but it can be lost. I think the McLaren boys need to work together, and they can certainly keep within striking distance of Hummer and Connor. And then it comes down to strategy, or whether anybody makes a mistake, plus penalties, which are, as we've said, very easy to get here. Right, let's jump back to the front. So Bog now coming under pressure from his teammate. I do wonder if Hammers will go past. Obviously, potentially the better chance of the win just based on pace that I saw in the sprint race. Bit of a squiggly back end there by Scully coming out, but brother Adam now just behind Hammers as well, so I think this is why they're going to want to get that move on Cavolis and Ralph side by the three. You're wide going into turn number one, and they managed to get through it as well, so well done on that. I was expecting to see a little bit of a pinball going on there, but congratulations for making it through. Two Selbers having the same sort of luck they had in the sprint race, currently sitting in 13th and 14th. So the top five looking to try and make a break a bit now. 1.1 clear of Scully, so be out of that DRS zone. Once you are out of DRS zone, it is very, very difficult to get yourself back into it. It can be worth, I think it's getting on for half a second, the DRS down the start finish line. So absolutely massive if you haven't got it. So top five are, yeah, pulling away. Rika now into sixth position, but now 2 seconds behind the leaders. That is going to be so difficult to pull back, but he is now at the head. Saying that, the gap's already down at 1.8, but he is at the head of, so he's in sixth, and literally everybody in this sort of row down to 12th. Then we've got the Salvers just having their own little race at the back. Not sure where to watch at the moment because there is a lot of battling going on, but Bog now starting to put pressure on Connor, who lost the lead to Hummer. Completely missed that. I'm assuming that was probably done the start finish line on the last lap, but you can never be sure. So Bog will, mind you, of course, Connor's now going to have DRS on Hummer as well, so it is not going to be. Bog does look quick. I wonder if he's using some ERS or just as a lower downforce setup. But those front four have now broken away. Scully battling away with Daniel there, side by side. Daniel going just a bit wide, so that's probably going to be a warning. That was uncalled for. We'll potentially see that reported later, but to me that looked like a retaliation swipe. But as I say, I'm seeing it live. If I saw it again, it might be completely different. But anyway, back to the racing. So Bog keeping on the back of Havoc Connor, who is keeping on the back of Hummer, and also Hammer's still keeping on the shirt tails of Bogorowski. Brother Adam 1.8 seconds back now and dropping into the clutches soon of Rika. Kazingle then heading the pack from 7th down to 10th. And Scully unfortunately dropping down into 13th. So I will review that afterwards. So but that was my initial thought. Bolis making a move on Kazingle. We've got Cavolis, Kazingle, Hammers and Hummer. They don't make it easy for you here, do they? Used to have Bog and Bob as well. That one always got me. But anyway, Bog back at the front. So currently 3rd position. One round left after this at Brazil. So maximum of 26 points available there. So as it stands, we're watching this year's champion. But let's not not say that until it's happened. Hammer's going a bit wide there. Don't know how many warnings people have got, but I'm assuming they're starting to stack up. And the worst thing is when your tyres start to go off here, because you just can't make that corner at the same speed. And by the time you've realised it, you're already offline. And that's your 3rd penalty, or your 3rd warning, and a 3-second penalty, which you cannot serve in the pits. Talking of pits, Kazingle popping in on the hards as well, so he must have some wing damage. Nope, onto a set of mediums. I think he just wasn't enjoying those hards perhaps, but we got a yellow flag. Why have we got a yellow flag flashing? Not sure, but Daniel having not the best feature race. It was pretty good in the sprint race, but the feature race so far hasn't gone his way. But it only takes one safety car and he's back in it. So Brother Adam now dropping 3.1 seconds behind Hammers and is completely under pressure from Rika. Ralph up into 7th. We'll see if he can close that 3.8 second gap down. So the two McLarens, ooh, close together. Hammers gets that snap out of that final corner pretty much every time. Unfortunately, it's costing him on that drive down the start-finish line. But I think it happens when your tyres start to go off. Johnny making up the position on Skipper. So Johnny up into 9th position. So Johnny was such a strong championship contender the first half of the season, but he did say that the second half of the season wasn't for him. Obviously been very, very busy himself as well, so I don't think he's had the practice time that he wanted. But yeah, certainly has struggled a bit more in the second half of the season. But nevertheless, Johnny, great to have you back at DTR. It really is. And I might take you up on your offer of clubs, but we'll wait and see on that one. Let's jump back to the front. So nobody is making any break on this, so it seems Connor happy to just sit behind. Quite a strategic driver, Connor. Hammer's got a much better drive. That time, is he going to go for the move on his teammate? He is. Papaya rules, don't you crash. So I think this is a matter of Hammers, off you go, see what you can do. Bog will obviously drag himself along behind, but he's not far off anyway. But they are racing bloody close, these two. So Bog was a teammate of mine for quite a few seasons, and very good teammate as well, very supportive, and gave you the right advice at the right time. Unfortunately, didn't manage to win the Drivers' Championship in that time. We picked up a team, Constructors' Championship. That was what we got for it. Runners up a couple of times, but yep. See, cut him loose. He came teammates with Hammers, and he's now on the cusp of much greater things. Brother Adam has lost that position to Rika now, so down into 6th position. Up at the front, I think Hummer was trying to guide Connor past. I think he's had enough of leading. I think he just cannot break this bunch behind, so it's almost a matter of going, you go past, you lead for a bit, let me recover my ERS. I don't think Connor was having any of it, and wisely so. So 9 laps gone, pretty much at 3rd distance. So this is the penultimate round of season 10. It's gone very quick. 12 rounds in total. Final one next week in Brazil. So the constructors will be decided then. I don't think the constructors can be decided tonight. Well, it possibly can. It just depends on how many points McLaren can gain on. I think it's Williams are in 2nd place. Just off the top of my head. So yeah, they could do, but with Connor sitting in 2nd at the... So as I say that, it looks like he's going to drop down to 3rd. So he should both have DRS, and Hammers does indeed go for a move up the inside. They're side by side going round. Still side by side as well. So good. Oh, good to see. They really are giving each other space there. There's some good racing between Connor and Hammers. Unfortunately for Hammers, didn't make the move, but Connor holding firm. Certainly not going to give up his position. But what that has done is just allowed Hummer to just pull out that gap a little bit to 0.7. He's still within that DRS, so as long as Connor can just get some composure back, that shouldn't be a problem. They can stay within the DRS detection and claw back some of that time down the start-finish line. So not much happening a bit further down the field. Scully in 12th, 3.2 seconds behind the Sauber of Composite. But then there's a 10-second gap from there on into Skipper. I think Scully and Daniel would be more than happy to see a safety car at the moment. Here comes Hammers on Connor. And Hammers does make the move around the inside. Composite picking up a 3-second time penalty there. So the 3rd one today. Well, 3rd driver today to pick up a penalty, not his 3rd one. That might not be far. Johnny and Kavolis having a nice little battle as well. Keeping it all good and clean. Some good racing. So I like what I see so far tonight. Division 2, it's been very good. Don't now let me down, somebody, please. So saw a bit of an incident earlier with Scully. But apart from that, we've been pretty good. Right, let's jump back to the front again. Keep an eye on this quartet. There are 2.5 seconds clear of Rika in 5th. So Rika is closing that gap ever so slightly. I think we were up at about 3.2 a few laps ago. And that's a bugger for Hammer's 3-second time penalty now. So the 4th driver to pick up a penalty. But what it will do now is reset his warnings. So he can probably be a bit more aggressive, knowing he has a couple of warnings left in the bag. Whoa, Hummer getting a step of oversteer just around the outside of there. Just a loss of traction. Probably got out on the marbles ever so slightly in the wake of Hammers as well. But Hammers now taking the lead on lap number 12. Connor now looking to get past Hummer as well. I think he knows that there's a potential Hammers could make a break for it. But Hummer's probably loving this now. It's probably, I can sit behind. I can use my DRS, save me ERS. But then I also know with Hummer is if he sees an opportunity, he will take it. These four seem to have picked the pace up again now. 3 seconds clear of Rika, so they pulled out a couple of tenths there. I think the problem is, I think the fighting and the squabbling slows them down, and obviously then gives potential for Rika to close up, and they don't want that to happen, especially with Brother Adam currently sitting in 6th position. And Hammer's Pits had enough of those medium tyres. Going to do a picked up a 10-second penalty as well for speeding in the pit lane. So that really is a Hammer blow to Hammers. 10 seconds plus a 3-second for corner cuts. So 13 seconds will be added to his race time. I'm sure he's gone for a set of hards. Can't confirm that yet. Yeah, he's gone hard, so he'll be taking those to the end. Rika behind on hards, coming out just ahead. No, just behind composites. So now just ahead of composites. I managing to keep that position around the outside. Obviously the fresher tyres, he should be able to make that move now. Okay, at the front we now have the trio, obviously with Hammers dropping out of contention. Obviously with that 10-second time penalty is going to be an absolute blow. Again, the only thing that is really going to bring him back into it now is going to be a safety car. Although he can still fight for position on track, potentially win it on track and then have the time added. So the gaps can open up pretty quickly here. But then a safety car can close it up, and even if you're leading with a safety car, and the trio are in. So Brother Adam is also in. Are we looking at Ralph coming in as well? Yep, Ralph into the pits. Johnny on his mediums into the pits. Cavolis into the pits. Skipper into the pits. Hammers doesn't need to pit. Johnny picking up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So easy to do here. They've changed the pit lane from last year's game. Last year's game used to come into the pits on the right-hand side. And Hammers is through into the lead. So the undercut just gaining him probably about a second. It was only a one lapper, but it's enough just to gain him a little bit of time there. Yeah, pit entry used to be on the right hand side before the final corner. Obviously it's now been moved to down the start finish line, but it's one a bit like Monza, where if you just come in too quick, just hitting the brakes, you don't always get down in time. And obviously picking up a 10-second penalty here. It's just Did anybody else? What have we got? 13. Yeah, so it was just Johnny and Hammers that picked up the 10-second pen. Rest of them, the 3-6 are for track extension, should we call it? We won't call them corner cuts, we call them track extensions. They cut the corner. Okay, so Bog in 3rd position. Let's see if we've got any battling. Connor has come out behind Brother Adam, so it really didn't work well for Connor there. But he is within that DRS zone, so he's managing to close it down. I think he will make his way past Brother Adam and then look at trying to make a dent into that 2.7. Oh no, it's only 1.2, isn't it? Brother Adam's behind. So yeah, I'm sure he will look at trying to make a dent into that and gain himself back, get back into the top 4 if he can. Okay, so what we got going on at the front? Hammer's deciding that he wants to get past now. No, this isn't going to end well if he does it there. Yeah, Hammer's rightly pulling out there. You can't do these flat out corners side by side. But Hammers now will have the DRS Bog. Must have made a slight mistake, just dropping a couple of seconds back now. So he's out of that DRS. So now needs to get his pace up to keep ahead of Rika in 4th. Boggy is closing that gap. Hopefully he's not eating up too much of his ERS. Could do with his teammate getting in front of Hummer and holding him up a bit. Just a bit of battling would be good, just to get that gap back down to the seconds so Bog can sit in behind. But Brother Adam recovering into 5th position, but really needs a win and really needs fastest lap, especially after not scoring in the sprint race. So the gap now 44 points with 52 maximum. And that's a pretty big margin, especially considering Bog's obviously sitting in the podium position at the moment, and that 52 points available would only be if Bog failed to score a single point from now on in, so 2 retirements or 2 drops to the back. So Brother Adam with it all to do, but he's not giving up fighting. Connor picking up another time penalty. It's very a track extension there, but he is charging down on Brother Adam now within 3/10. Is Hammers going to go for a move for the lead? He is. So Hammers up into the lead. A bit further back, we're going to have Connor making the move on Brother Adam. Cavolis and Scully. Oh, Scully, where are you going? So Scully into the pits. So I'm assuming that's for his first proper pit stop. Obviously having a pit early because of wing damage. Bog dropping off a bit, back down to 2.8, and he's now only 1.5 seconds clear of Rika, who has brought Connor and Brother Adam with him. So this is going to be a bit of a fight here, as well as the one for the lead. And we still have Cavolis and J5 Gaming having a battle in 8th and 9th. So Hummer just dropping back a bit here, but he doesn't need to be right on his backside, as he can go through, pick on the DRS detection zone, pop it on, and he'll bring that back down to probably about 4/10, 3/10 by the time we hit the first corner. There we go, just into the 3/10. So Connor now making a move past Rika up into 5th position. So Connor now the man on a mission to hunt down Bogorovsky in 3rd position. Gap only 1.2. But he has Rika and brother Adam behind him. Will he drag them along? Or will he have the pace to actually break it? So Hammer still within 4/10 of Hammers. Bog 3.2. Bog now very vulnerable. He is within DRS range of Connor, 0.7. With Rika and brother Adam close behind, then followed by Ralph and Kavolis, but 7 seconds respectively between them. So 7-second gap to Ralph, 7-second gap to Kavolis, who still has Johnny all over his backside. So that seems to have been pretty much a race-long feature so far. Okay, again, Hammer's got that gap out to about 0.7, but the gap's going to be down to about 0.3 by the corner. So DRS is worth nearly, well, around about half a second. It is huge, and it's something that Bog does not have the luxury of, and Connor, taking full advantage of that, has closed right up onto the back of him. But they've nearly broken that second gap on Rika, so if they can do that and work together. Johnny and Kavolis changing positions again. Johnny up into 8th, Kavolis down into 9th position. So the Williams and the Alpine having a real good battle so far. I'd like to watch more of it, but I want to keep an eye on what is happening at the front. Well, not only just at the front, but at the front of the championship. Scully picking up a pen there. I think that might be his second one of the day. So lap number 19. Just starting. Yeah, just starting lap number 20. So we have 10 laps left, including the one that we are on. Bog now coming under pressure from Connor and Rika. Brother Adam sniffing around just in the background there. He will be on the back of this train pretty shortly as well. So this is going to become a 4-way battle for the last step of the podium. Who is going to take the top step? Obvious at the moment, Hummer. Basically because Hammers has 13 seconds of penalties. Not that Hummer is driving like you would believe that, to be honest. If someone has that amount of penalties in front, you just sit behind them. You just don't need to do anything. You don't need to race them. You can just sit behind them, take the win. But not everybody sees it that way. It's a win on track means more than anything, to be honest. And yeah, it's a great feeling, but it's also quite gutting when you go for a silly move on the last lap and crash and you've thrown away a win for no reason. Okay, so we now have a quartet. Bog, Connor, Rika, brother, all within, well, I say within DRS range of each other. Bog does not have DRS, and Connor is going to make the move past him here. I think he should be able to hold off Rika. Oh, that was close. So Connor up into 3rd position. What Bog needs to do now is sit behind, use his DRS to recover his ERS, keep your position. But Connor is certainly not a slouch when it comes down to F124. Certainly seems to have found a decent rhythm on this game. But 4.8, well, 4.7 seconds behind Hummer now. So, I mean, what are we, 9 laps to go, including the one we are on, 4.5. So he's looking at half a second a lap he needs to gain on the front two. It's not impossible. But Bog needs to hold on to him. He's got to stay within that DRS zone, otherwise he's going to then become vulnerable to Rika and Brother Adam behind, and a potential podium could drop him into a 6th position. Although I think that might still even be good enough to give him the championship. But we'll wait and see. Right, what's happening a bit further up? Hammer's losing the lead to Hummer. That's what I said. Just sometimes it's you just need to sit behind, but I suppose sometimes the overspeed can be so great you have to make the move. So kind of keeping right on the back of Bog as we enter this literally flat out right, and right again. And then if you line it up right and you've got big balls, you can do this one flat as well. But I wouldn't advise doing this one now flat. You could try, but I don't think it'd end very well. Anyway, so Connor, still within that DRS zone, is closing. Is he going to have enough to actually make the move on Bogorovsky this time? He does not. So Bogorovsky stays in 3rd position, but will be using an awful lot of his ERS to pull himself clear. At the front, Hummer keeping up his friendly exchanges with Hammers there. But don't forget that Hammers has a 13-second penalty, obviously 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Now coming round to lap Scully, who's had probably a day to forget, to be honest. So it was going pretty well for him earlier, but then he seems to, well, it looked like a side swipe on him. It could well be a complete loss of traction and a sort of a fishtail side swipe, you know, sort of unintentional. But yeah, I think since then poor Scully has been struggling, but was on it up to that point. Connor and Rika now battling. This could be good for Bog if Connor can keep trying to battle with Rika. Could slow him up ever so slightly. I'm going to do, bring up the gap to the leaders, see if I can get to the right thing. Because then we can see at the moment Hammers is likely to drop down to 6th position. So it's still not bad considering, but when you've had such good pace all race long and get screwed over by a penalty, it's pretty demoralising. So Bog just failing to make the to get the DRS, or to break the DRS zone. So Rika is now closing on the back of Bog. So we concertinaed up again. We seem to have a we got quite close, and then Connor made the move on Bog. Bog made the move on Connor. Then Rika made the move on Connor, and it's they kind of spread it out a little bit, but not by a huge amount. But we've certainly concertinaed back together. Hummers are still chasing down Hammers. They haven't quite caught Scully yet. So Scully got good pace, but then I suppose he's got fresh tyres, so he does have that advantage. I'm also not sure what tyres he's on. What tyres is he on? Mediums, and the others are on hard, so yeah, that would account for it. But still a good show. So is he gonna jump out of the way for Hammers? I wouldn't say jump out the way, but he certainly didn't put up too much of a fight letting him through. So is he gonna let Hummer through as well? So he must be getting the blue flags. And he does moves himself out of the way. Fair play to you there, Scully. Not an easy track to let people past on. Bog, just noticed, has lost a position to Rika. Connor still with his nose up Bog's backside. Doesn't sound quite right, but you know what I mean. So lap number 26. 3 laps to go at the end of this lap. Who is going to win on track? Hammers has a 1.2 second gap now. So has managed to break the back of Hummer, but as I say, that 13-second penalty is going to so take him down to 6th position. So still strong points for the McLaren and cracking pace from him. Just unfortunate that they are a little bit too fast going into the pit lane. So Bog now back past Rika. So again, I think that must have been a start-finish line move. So top 6 separated by what, about 6 or 7 seconds. That is pretty damn good, to be honest. It's nice to see some close fighting. Connor going out a little bit wide there. I think he's sort of making up his own line. He might have just lost traction ever so slightly. But yeah, just saw him whip off to the side in the background. Right, is Hummer going to go for the move? Should have DRS, which he does. No, he's not close enough to make that move. Right, but further back then, do we have anyone? Is Rika going to go for a move on Bogorovsky? He is not. Connor looks for a move. Brother Adam dropping just a little bit further back now. Connor up the inside of Rika. Didn't make the move stick though, so Rika managing to keep hold of 4th position, which is, I'll be honest, very likely to become 3rd position with the pens. So lap 28, we are on the penultimate lap, and we're very, very close to the end of the penultimate lap. Hammers is leading the way round, coming onto the start finish line. I assume Hummer will go for the move there. Just trying to work out some points as well whilst we're doing this. Okay, so last lap of the race, Hammers keeps the lead. Bog manages to hang on to 3rd position as well. In fact, if anything, he's pulled a gap of 1.4 seconds to Rika. The back marker of Scully in between, so it looks like it could be a good thing for Bogorovsky here and could be nailed on for a 2nd place finish. Okay, so Hammer's coming around into the last sector now, takes the lead. Looks like, or keeps the lead, should I say. Looks like he is going to take the on-track win, and Hammer is going to pretty much follow my advice and just follow him home, take the win. So with that amount of penalties, you don't need to take a gamble. But here we go, coming across the start-finish line, the on-track winner, Hammers, will drop further back. But Bogorovsky now coming across to take a 2nd position and Division 2 champion for Season 10. Congratulations, Bogorovsky. Very, very happy for you. You've been very strong, very consistent all season. Brother Adam bringing it home in 4th. Rika in 3rd, Brother Adam in 4th position, Connor 5th, Hammers dropping down to 6th because of that penalty. Ralph Albers in 7th, Cavolis in 8th, F1 Johnny or J5 Gaming coming home in 9th position, Skipper in 10th, Kazingle 11th. I think, unless we change with any penalties, Composite will be 12th and Skipper already finished in 13th position. Oh, apologies, I slipped onto mute there. So back again now for the podium celebration. So Hummer taking the race victory. Bogorovsky coming home in 2nd place. And Rika, I think it was in 3rd, if I remember rightly. But big congratulations there to Bogorovsky taking his Division 10, Season 10 Division 2 title. So let's have a look at the full race results. Let's go along. So Hummer bringing it home for the win. Bogorovsky in 2nd place and 3rd place on the podium, Rika. 4th place, Brother Adam. 5th place, Connor. Sixth place goes to Hammers with that 13-second penalty. Ralph in 7th. 8th goes to Volis. 9th. F1 Johnny or J5 Gaming. 10th goes to Skipper Kazingo in 11th. Composite 12th. Scully 13th. And Daniel in 14th. So that brings to a close round number 11, Division 2, Season 10. Drivers' Championship has been decided. Bogorovsky, many, many congratulations. Really happy to see that. I say sorry for brother Adam, F1 Johnny as well. You've been great competitors this year, but Bog just having the consistency, taking it home with a race to go, and I think we'll go into that race with about a 50 or 51 point gap. So congratulations to him. I think the constructors, not sure if that has been sewn up or not, but it's going to be close to be sewn up. McLaren gaining quite a lot of points today on the Williams, but I think that might go into the last race, but I could be corrected there. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the comms. Give us a thumbs up and a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be back next week. Division 1 will be coming from Brazil, which is round number 11 for them, obviously with Australia getting cancelled due to technical issues early on. That will follow on the last week. But I will be back this time next week for the final round of Division 2 in Season 10. And we'll see who wins next week. So thanks ever so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you next week.